Hello and welcome to Pride News. I'm Eduardo Culbo. Let's jump right into the latest news in all things LGBT. The Food and Drug Administration on Monday approved the first drug shown to reduce the risk of HIV infection, the latest in a milestone in a 30-year battle against the virus that causes AIDS. The agency approved Gilead Sciences pill Truvada as a preventative measure to healthy people who are at high risk of acquiring HIV through sexual activity, such as those who have HIV-infected partners. The decision comes in less than 2 weeks after the agency approved another landmark product, the first over-the-counter HIV test that Americans can use in the privacy of their homes. The two developments are seen as the biggest steps in years towards curbing the spread of HIV in the U.S., which has held steadily at about 50,000 new infections per year for the last 15 years. An estimated 1.2 million Americans have HIV, which develops into AIDS unless treated with antiviral drugs. And it is estimated that 1/5 of about 240,000 people are unaware that they are infected. After a confidential 2-year review, the Boy Scouts of America on Tuesday reaffirmed the policy that excludes gays, ruling out any changes despite relentless protest campaigns for some critics. An 11-member special committee, formed discreetly by top Scout leaders in 2010, came to the conclusion that this policy is absolutely the best policy for the Boy Scouts. The organization national spokesman, Darion Smith, told the Associated Press. Smith has the committee comprised of professional Scouts, executives, and adult volunteers was unanimously in the conclusion, preserving a long-standing policy that was upheld by U.S. Supreme Court in 2000 and has remained controversial ever since. As a result of the committee's decision, the Scouts National Executive Board will take no further action on any recently submitted resolutions asking for a reconsideration of the membership policy. The Scouts Chief Executive, Bob Masura, contended that most Scouts families support the policy, which applies to both leaders and Scouts.
I signed the petition with ink, with my own pen there in the office.
An 18-year-old girl is helping police hunt for the man who shot her in the head and murdered her girlfriend at a Texas park last month. Mary Christine Chapa is still recovering in a hospital bed from brain injuries sustained in the shooting, but she managed to help police refine the sketch of the suspect who killed her girlfriend, 19-year-old Molly Judith Olang, according to ABC. Chapa already provided the sketch artist with an initial physical description, but she requested a second meeting to clarify the rendering. Her description did not change from the first version. The suspect is described as a white male in his 20s, 5 foot 8 inches, thin built, 140 pounds, with brown hair and a scruffy beard. Chapa and Ogan were both found shot in the head at around 9 a.m. at a Saturday last month at Violent Andrews Park in Portland, Texas, according to the Corpus Christi Caller-Times. A Filipino woman who married her American wife in 2008, when it was legal to do so in the state of California, should not be denied immigration rights that heterosexual couples receive and should not be deported, her lawyers are arguing in a lawsuit. Jane De Leon, who came to the U.S. in 1989 with her son Martin Arenas and her spouse Irma Rodriguez, are suing the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, among others, for their implementation of the Defense of Marriage Act. The lawsuit was filed Thursday in a U.S. District Court in the Central District of California. The suit joins several others, bringing DOMA, the federal law against same-sex marriage, including one filed by a binational couple in New York. The Obama administration has asked the Supreme Court to take up 2 of those cases, one originating in Massachusetts and another in California, according to the SCOTUS blog. Last year, Pulitzer Prize winner author Joseph Levi-Welt released his book, Great Soul, Mahatma Gandhi and the Struggle with India, causing controversy with parts that some say indicated that Gandhi had homosexual relationships with architect Herman Kallenbach. Gandhi's home state of Gujarat banned the book in March, and now the Indian government has dished out $1.28 million to purchase and archived more than 1,000 letters and documents exchanged between the men. and also removing it from potential public auction in London, according to the Wall Street Journal's Indian Real Time. According to the journal, India's Ministry of Culture said experts reviewed the letters and recommended the government obtain them as a matter of highest priority. While Levyville denies suggesting that Gandhi might have been gay, a review of the book by the Wall Street Journal highlighted passages that imply a homosexual relationship. On Monday, lawyers filed a petition on behalf of Edie Windsor, an 83-year-old lesbian from New York, asking the Supreme Court to review her case, thus bypassing a second round in the Second District Court of Appeals, where the case is scheduled to appear next week. Earlier this month, the Obama administration asked the High Court to review two other cases challenging DOMA consecutively. With Windsor's petition, there are now 3 cases from the request for gay marriage that could challenge DOMA at the Supreme Court as early as next spring, if the court consents to hear them. Windsor sued the government in 2010 after the death of her partner of more than 40 years, forced Windsor to pay more than $363,000 in federal estate tax on her partner's estates. Windsor was married in 2007 in Canada, and while living in New York, gay marriage was recognized. The federal government did not. When Spire got sick, she chose to leave her entire estate to Windsor. Had Windsor been married to a man, she would not have to pay any estate tax, according to court documents. Therefore, she has argued that DOMA violates the equal protection case in the U.S. Constitution. A lesbian couple was ordered to leave Kentucky Park while taking maternity photos for the parks in the park's grounds, and a woman believed that they were ousted because they were gay. Cherry Chenoweth and Destiny Keith decided to go to E.C. Million Park in Richmond, Kentucky last weekend to take photos ahead of their baby boy, who they said is expected to be born September 29th, according to Lexington Herald Times. The park served as a backdrop for photos which were being taken by a local photographer. Photos were taken in a privately owned section of the park that is open to the public. After the couple kissed for a photo, the park gatekeepers went over to the group and told them to leave the park grounds because they were being inappropriate. In a move that could still add even more complexity to the history with the LGBT community, Target is now selling greeting cards honoring same-sex marriages. As the Minneapolis Star-Tribune is reporting, the cards, which are produced by Carlton Cards, a unit of American Greetings, and hit store shelves in June, features phrases like Mr. and Mr., 2 very special women, 1 very special love. The items began appearing in Target's card shelves a month after Minnesota-based company controversially began selling t-shirts commemorating the Gay Pride Month. In other Target news, Frank Ocean's album may be currently the most buzzed about album in the music industry, but Target is not interested. Billboard reports that the discount retail giant announced it will not sell Channel Orange, claiming the decision was due to iTunes' 1-week exclusive. Many are wondering, however, though, if the move was actually inspired by the fact that Ocean recently came out. Ocean's first studio album hit iTunes after R&B singer's surprise appearance on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, a full week before previously planned. Of course, that meant that the brick-and-mortar retailers would lose out on that first week's sale.
What are we smoking anyway? She said don't let the high go to waste. But can you taste little taste Novocaine?
The brand has a complicated history with the LGBT community. Target first faced a strong backlash after donating $150,000 to Minnesota Forward, a group that was backing Tom Emmer's gubernatorial bid in Minnesota. Emmett was known for being especially conservative and not supporting equal rights for LGBT citizens. At the time, Target Corporation's CEO said the company was merely supporting a candidate that would be an advocate for its business. He later apologized. Though the brand recently printed a run of shirts celebrating Gay Pride Week, this comes Critics took issue with the fact that the shirts were only available online, and the fact is that it was more seen as a half-hearted attempt to salvage its relationship within the LGBT community. R&B star Frank Ocean's coming out might have all the buzz shaken up in the hip-hop world, but Los Angeles-based rapper Murs is hoping to take that conversation one step further with a poignant new music video that shows his full support for the LGBT community. In Animal style, Murs plays Roderick, a closeted 17-year-old boyfriend of Jonathan, who is openly gay high school student. Though Murs notes that Jonathan's boyfriend did not want to go to prom with him, the couple are shown cuddling, even sharing a brief kiss, although the video does have a grisly ending.
So excited that he moved in and kissed him. Project dissed him, threw him to the floor. He said, "You it, what you have to go and do that for?" Looked at his homies, y'all know I'm not gay. They just shook their heads, turned and walked away.
The dramatic sequences are intercut with performances. A shot of Murs, who is shown wearing a legalized gay t-shirt that's calling for the repeal of Prop 8, California's voter-approved ban on same-sex marriage. That about wraps it up with today's latest news and all things LGBT. Thank you for joining me. I'm Eduardo Colbeau for Pride TV Chicago.